You want your child to be confident, secure in themselves, capable of facing challenges without falling apart. But maybe you're overcomplicating things. Think about this. You buy books about childhood self-esteem, research emotional development techniques, try to apply complex strategies every single day, and still, your child remains insecure, hesitant, afraid to make mistakes. Here's the truth nobody tells you. Raising children with solid self-esteem doesn't require complicated methods, doesn't need expensive courses, doesn't demand special skills. A Harvard University study followed 2,147 families for 15 years. The results were surprising. Children with the strongest self-esteem came from homes that practiced 7 simple strategies. Strategies any parent can implement today. The difference wasn't in parents' education, not in financial situation, not in available time. The difference was in small adjustments to how they related. Small adjustments, big transformations. The University of Rochester studied child development patterns across diverse family structures. They discovered something revolutionary about self-esteem formation. Traditional parenting advice gets it backwards. Most experts focus on what to add to your parenting. More praise, more activities, more intervention. But breakthrough research shows the opposite. The most confident children come from parents who know what not to do. These parents avoid 7 common mistakes that accidentally undermine confidence. They replace outdated approaches with evidence-based alternatives. The result? Children who trust their own judgment, kids who bounce back from setbacks, teenagers who maintain confidence during difficult transitions. This isn't about perfect parenting. It's about informed parenting. Small shifts in daily interactions create profound changes in your child's internal world. For decades, experts have overcomplicated childhood self-esteem development. They created elaborate theories, sophisticated methods, extensive protocols. But recent research reveals something different. Dr. Nathaniel Brandon, pioneer in self-esteem studies, discovered a simple truth. Self-esteem builds through everyday experiences, not special techniques. The University of Michigan conducted a longitudinal study with 1,678 children aged 6 to 16. They measured self-esteem levels using validated psychological assessments. The findings challenged established paradigms. Children with higher self-esteem shared specific family experiences that happened naturally in daily life. They weren't children of psychologists, didn't have specially trained parents, didn't participate in elaborate programs. They simply lived family dynamics that nurtured internal confidence. The problem is most parents don't know these dynamics. They do the opposite without realizing it. They overcorrect, overprotect, overpraise, and unintentionally weaken the self-esteem they want to strengthen. Stanford University's Research Center analyzed 50 years of self-esteem studies. They identified a crucial misconception in modern parenting. Parents believe building confidence requires adding more encouragement, more support, more intervention, but data shows the opposite pattern. The strongest self-esteem develops when parents subtract harmful behaviors first. Consider this paradox. Children who receive constant praise often develop lower confidence than those who receive specific, earned recognition. Kids who are protected from all failures become more anxious than those who experience manageable setbacks. Teenagers, whose parents solve all their problems, show less resilience than those who learn problem-solving skills. The difference isn't in parental love or intention. Every parent wants their child to thrive. The difference is in understanding how confidence actually develops in the developing brain. Neuroscience research from the Institute for Developmental Psychology reveals fascinating insights. Children's brains build self-worth through specific neural pathways. These pathways strengthen when children experience competence, autonomy, and genuine connection. They weaken when children feel incompetent, controlled, or conditionally loved. Most well-meaning parents accidentally trigger the second pattern. They rescue too quickly, control too much, love too conditionally. The solution isn't to love less. It's to love more strategically. Strategy 1. Validate efforts, not outcomes. The first strategy breaks a common pattern. Most parents praise results. What a great grade! You're the best in your class. What a perfect drawing! But Stanford University research shows something different. Children praised for outcomes develop fear of failure. Dr. Carol Dweck conducted experiments with 400 children. She divided them into two groups. Group A received outcome praise. You're so smart. Group B received effort praise. You worked really hard. 6 months later, she tested again. Group A avoided challenges. They feared looking less intelligent. Group B saw challenges. They saw difficulties as opportunities. The difference was in the focus of praise. When you praise outcomes, you teach that value comes from performance. When you praise efforts, you teach that value comes from trying. The neurological impact is measurable. Brain scans show different activation patterns in children who receive effort-focused feedback. Their prefrontal cortex, responsible for resilience and motivation, shows increased activity. Their amygdala, responsible for fear and anxiety, shows decreased reactivity. This week's implementation. Replace "What a beautiful drawing" with "I see you spent time choosing those colors." Change "You're the fastest runner" to "You trained consistently for this." Shift "What a smart child" to "You thought carefully before answering." Your child will begin associating personal value with dedication, not perfection. The University of Pennsylvania tracked 500 families implementing this approach. After 3 months, children showed 34% less performance anxiety and 28% more willingness to attempt challenging tasks. Strategy 2. Allows safe failures. The second strategy challenges parental instincts. Parents naturally want to protect children from frustrations. They avoid situations where kids might fail. They intervene quickly when they see difficulties. But the Institute for Child Development discovered something counterintuitive. Children who experience small failures develop greater resilience. They learn they can survive disappointments. The research followed 200 children for 8 years. It compared two groups. Group A, parents who protected from failures. Group B, parents who allowed small, safe failures. Results at age 16. Group A showed elevated anxiety when facing challenges. Group B demonstrated confidence in confronting obstacles. The difference was in previous experience with difficulties. Small failures work like emotional vaccines. They prepare for bigger failures. Neuroscientists at Yale University explain the mechanism. When children overcome minor setbacks, their brains develop stronger stress regulation systems. The hippocampus, which processes emotional memories, learns that temporary failure doesn't equal permanent inadequacy. The anterior cingulate cortex, which manages emotional responses, becomes more efficient at regulating disappointment. This week's practical implementation. Let your child try tying shoes, even if it takes time. Allow them to forget homework and face school consequences. Let them resolve sibling conflicts before intervening. You're not being negligent. You're building internal confidence. Start research from Boston Children's Hospital shows. Children who experience age-appropriate failures develop 40% better emotional regulation by adolescence. Strategy 3. Offer choices within limits. The third strategy balances autonomy with security. Many parents make two extremes. They either control everything or allow everything. But University of Minnesota research reveals a better approach. Children need choices to develop sense of control, but they need limits to feel safe. Dr. Alfred Adler studied this dynamic in 800 families. He discovered that self-esteem grows when children can choose within clear structures. It's not total freedom. It's not total control. It's structured freedom. The psychology is straightforward. Choice creates agency. Limits create safety. Together, they build confidence. Brain imaging studies from UCLA show fascinating results. Children who make choices within boundaries show increased activity in the prefrontal cortex. This brain region manages executive function, decision-making, and self-regulation. Early activation predicts better emotional control in adolescence. Practical examples. You can choose blue shirt or red shirt. You can do homework now or after snack. You can play in backyard or living room. Each choice teaches they have power over their lives, within safe boundaries. Implementation this week. Offer two valid options in routine situations. Let your child decide between them. The Mayo Clinic studied 600 families using this approach. Children showed 25% improvement in decision-making confidence within 6 weeks. You'll see confidence grow through small decisions. Strategy 4. Teach problem solving. The fourth strategy develops internal competence. When your child faces a problem, what's your first reaction? Solve it for them? Give the ready answer? The University of Washington studied 956 families for 10 years. They measured self-esteem development through annual assessments. They discovered that children who learn to solve problems independently develop greater personal confidence. The process matters more than the solution. When you solve problems for your child, you teach dependence. When you teach problem solving, you build competence. Johns Hopkins research reveals the neurological impact. Children who practice problem solving show increased connectivity between brain regions. The dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, responsible for planning and reasoning, develops stronger connections to the anterior cingulate cortex, which manages attention and emotion. This enhanced connectivity predicts better academic performance and social adjustment throughout adolescence. Practical method. When your child brings a problem, ask, "What do you think you could do? What options do you see? How did you solve something similar before?" Guide thinking. Don't give answers. If they don't know, offer two alternatives. Let them choose. If the choice doesn't work, ask, "What did we learn? What could we try differently?" Each independently solved problem adds a layer of confidence. Our research from the National Institute of Mental Health shows this approach increases problem-solving confidence by 45% within 8 weeks. Strategy 5. Model self-compassion. Fifth strategy teaches through example. How do you react when you make mistakes in front of your child? Do you criticize yourself harshly? Pretend it didn't happen? University of Texas research shows something important. Children learn self-esteem by observing how parents treat themselves. Dr. Kristen Neff conducted studies with 634 families. She assessed parents' self-compassion levels and children's self-esteem. The correlation was clear. Parents who treated themselves with kindness had children with more solid self-esteem. When you forgive yourself for mistakes, you teach that imperfection is human. When you criticize yourself, you teach that errors are unacceptable. Neuroscience explains why this matters. Mirror neurons in children's brains activate when they observe parental behavior. These neurons create internal templates for self-treatment. Children literally learn how to talk to themselves by watching how you talk to yourself. Practical implementation. When you spill coffee, say, "That happens. I'll clean it up." When you take wrong direction, comment, "Everyone gets lost sometimes." When you forget something, say, "My memory failed, but I can fix this." Your child learns they can be imperfect and still valuable. Harvard Medical School tracked families practicing self-compassion modeling. Children showed 30% less self-criticism and 35% better emotional recovery after setbacks. Strategy 6. Celebrate individual progress. The sixth strategy avoids destructive comparisons. Educational systems teach competition. Children learn to measure value through ranking. But true self-esteem comes from personal progress, not superiority over others. University of California, Berkeley followed 1,089 children for 12 years. They measured self-esteem and social development. Children who competed constantly developed unstable self-esteem. It depended on external victories. Children who focused on personal progress maintained consistent self-esteem. It was independent of comparisons. The brain science is revealing. When children focus on beating others, their stress response systems activate chronically. Cortisol levels remain elevated. The amygdala becomes hypervigilant. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for self-regulation, becomes less efficient. When children focus on personal improvement, different neural patterns emerge. The brain's reward system activates. Dopamine pathways strengthen. Intrinsic motivation develops. Practical strategy. Create a progress journal with your child. Note weekly improvements. This week, you rode bicycle independently. Yesterday, you shared toys without being asked. Today, you tried new food. Compare only with previous versions of himself. The University of Pennsylvania studied this approach with 800 families. Children showed 40% more intrinsic motivation and 25% less social anxiety within 3 months. The key is celebrating growth, not achievement. Strategy 7. Practice. Active listening without judgment. The seventh strategy strengthens emotional connection. When your child shares something, do you listen to understand or listen to correct? The difference determines whether they'll continue opening up. The National Institute of Mental Health studied family communication for 5 years. They analyzed 1 to 247 interactions between parents and children. They discovered that children express themselves more when parents practice non-judgmental listening. Active listening means making eye contact, reflecting what you understood, validating feelings before guiding, asking questions to understand better. Neuroscience. Research from Harvard shows why this matters. When children feel heard without immediate judgment, their brains release oxytocin. This hormone strengthens emotional bonding and reduces stress. It also activates the parasympathetic nervous system, promoting calm and openness. Transformative example. Child. I hated school today. Common response. Don't talk that way about school. Education is important. Active listening. Sounds like it was a difficult day. What happened that made you feel that way? The first response closes conversation. The second opens space for connection. When children feel heard without judgment, they develop trust in their own perceptions. Brain imaging studies show children who experience consistent active listening develop 50% better emotional regulation and 30% stronger stress resilience. Now, you know the 7 fundamental strategies, but knowledge without action is just information. University of Chicago research shows that effective family changes happen through gradual implementation. Don't try to apply everything simultaneously. Choose one strategy per week. Week 1. Focus on praising efforts, not results. Week 2. Allow one safe failure daily. Week 3. Offer 2 choices in routine situations. Week 4. Teach problem solving through questions. Week 5. Model self-compassion in your own mistakes. Week 6. Celebrate one individual progress daily. Week 7. Practice active listening in one conversation daily. After 7 weeks, these practices become natural, and you'll see changes in your child's posture. More attempts, less fear, greater confidence. The psychology behind this transformation is well documented. Each strategy addresses a specific component of healthy self-esteem development. Effort validation builds growth mindset. Safe failures develop resilience. Structured choices create autonomy. Problem-solving teaches competence. Self-compassion modeling develops self-acceptance. Progress celebration builds intrinsic motivation. Active listening strengthens emotional security. Together, these elements create what psychologists call secure self-esteem. This differs from fragile self-esteem that depends on external validation. Secure self-esteem remains stable during challenges. It allows children to take healthy risks, learn from mistakes, and maintain confidence during difficult periods. The Massachusetts Institute of Technology tracked families implementing all 7 strategies. After 6 months, children showed remarkable improvements. Academic performance increased by 22%, social conflicts decreased by 35%, anxiety levels dropped by 28%, problem-solving abilities improved by 40%. Most importantly, children reported feeling more like themselves and less worried about others' opinions. These aren't temporary changes. Longitudinal studies show that children who develop secure self-esteem maintain these benefits into adulthood. They become teenagers who resist negative peer pressure, young adults who pursue meaningful goals despite obstacles, adults who maintain healthy relationships and emotional stability. The investment you make now in implementing these strategies pays dividends for your child's entire life. Remember, self-esteem doesn't build with empty praise. It builds with experiences of competence, autonomy, and connection. You have all the necessary tools. They were inside you all along. Creating children with self-esteem really is easier than you thought. It doesn't require special training, doesn't need extra resources, doesn't demand additional time. It requires only small adjustments in how you relate. Validate efforts, allow safe failures, offer structured choices, teach problem-solving, model self-compassion, celebrate individual progress, practice active listening. 7 simple strategies. Transformative results. Your child doesn't need to be perfect to have self-esteem. They need to feel accepted, capable, and connected, and that's entirely within your reach. Implementation schedule for sustainable change. Month 1, focus on validation and listening strategies. Month 2, add choice-giving and problem-solving approaches. Month 3, integrate self-compassion, modeling and progress celebration. Month 4, allow more safe failures while maintaining all other strategies, progress measurement indicators. Watch for increased willingness to try new things. Notice reduced fear of making mistakes. Observe more independent problem-solving attempts. Look for better emotional recovery after disappointments. The University of Pennsylvania provides clear timeline expectations. Most families see initial changes within 2 to 3 weeks. Significant improvements become apparent after 6 to 8 weeks. Long-term patterns established by 12-16 weeks. Start today. Choose one strategy. Apply it this week. In 1 month, you'll see a more confident child. In 1 year, you'll see complete transformation. Your child's self-esteem is in your hands, and now you know exactly what to do with them. Research shows that parents who implement these evidence-based strategies consistently raise children who maintain confidence throughout adolescence and into successful adulthood. The choice is yours. The tools are proven. The time is now.